Hello. Welcome to week 1 of your tarot mentorship with me, Carolyn. This will be the shortest video out of every week just because this is like an introduction week. So this week you're just getting familiar with your cards. When you read your weekly assignment, you'll see the breakdown of the cards and how they're broken down with little descriptions. You also have a couple prompts about just kind of getting used to the cards, looking through all the cards, coming up with your own meanings for the cards kind of before we dive into the specific by the book meanings. So the way this is going to be taught is that every week you will, after the first week, you'll receive 2 major arcana cards and then 4 minor arcana cards starting with aces, 2s, 3s, all the way up to kings. And then at the end, you won't have as many cards left, and we'll do a couple spread weeks where you learn the different spreads to do. But for the first week, it's really just understanding the idea of tarot and looking at how the cards work and looking at how they're organized and looking at the basic set meanings of them before we get into the specific meanings. If you do not have the original Rider Tarot deck, I suggest that you at least take Photoshop or take a screenshot and have it on your phone so you can look at it, because I will reference specific imagery in the pictures. That is the way that I learned tarot, and this is how I teach tarot. It's with the specific imagery that's related to the original tarot decks that have been made. So now they've changed and you see similar looks, but they don't tell the exact story. So that's how we learn, as we learn by the story that they tell. So you will start this week by doing a higher self meditation. It is really great to settle in, even if you do it for 30 seconds before you start working with your cards. And anytime I personally do a reading, I always say, like, whatever, please give me the message for this person's higher interest and best interest. Please give me whatever information that they need for their highest self and their best self. And you can say that with yourself or with your cards every time you sit down with them. It doesn't have to be this full meditation, but really throughout this workshop, what you're trying to do is you're trying to learn to trust your own intuition and the meanings of the cards for yourself. And you learn them by the quote unquote book, and you learn the imagery and you learn the numerology, but ideally you end up, for lack of better words, bonding with a specific meaning to each card. And you learn how to have a card that means something specific to you, where the 3 of Swords represents grief. To a fellow tarot reader of mine, that's one of her favorite cards, because to her it means more healing from grief versus being in the grief, is how I see it. So after you do your meditation, you'll have a prompt to read or look through the cards and come up with your own terms for them. You will learn about the major arcana. So the major arcana are the big cards. It starts at the Fool, and we go all the way to, my brain just stopped, all the way to the World. That's the end. Sorry. And there are 22 of those cards, and those are the big cards, the ones that you think of when you think of tarot: the Death card, the Tower, the Lovers. And then we have the minor arcana, which is 56 cards, and those are broken down into the suits: Wands, Cups, Swords, Pentacles, and they each have 14, the Ace through the King. And the Cups, Swords, the elements, they all have their own specific meaning that you're going to kind of read about this week, as do the numbers. So where all aces represent new beginnings, opportunities, and potential, the different elements represent different things: emotions or material items or logic and using your brain. And so what you learn to do is you learn the numerology meanings for each card, and then you learn what the element is, and then you combine the two when you pull those cards. In addition, there is a section about the court cards, which are the pages, knights, queens, and kings, which follow the ace through 10. And they have the same idea, where kings across the board mean one thing. They mean somebody that's mastered something, but it's different depending on the element that you put it in. And then lastly, there's just a little snippet about reading reversed. In this workshop, I'm not going to be discussing the reversed meanings. They will be in the tarot book, and you will be able to see them there. But personally, I find it easier just to learn and really understand and spend time with the cards, and then gain your relationships with them, and then move into what the reverse meanings are, where you develop your own or you can look at the ones that have been developed over time. But it's better to just get more comfortable and have an overall understanding for the cards themselves, and then the reverse meanings come very simple. So that is it for my little snippet this week. You have one more exercise at the very end after you do your reading, a couple journal prompts, and if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message.